And Gordy says hello. Ron, how's your health? Good to have you aboard. How you doing today, pal? Okay?
Yeah, feeling good. Thanks for having me. And it's a good event for the umps. So, you know what, I'm happy to get involved in it. And everything seems to be going good.
And obviously that's a January event, usually a golf classic. This year, Earl virtual. The world we still live in, Ron, how hard was it? The 2 months you were with Detroit last year, very tricky to manage under those scenarios. Players did a great job, but it was different. Give me some thoughts on that July and August of 2020.
Yeah, there was, a lot of stress. Went through an awful lot, got sick in Minnesota, had some little food poisoning, and that knocked me down for a little bit. And then finally I just said, I got to take care of myself here, and kind of told Al Avila that I needed to step down at that time. So, you just kind of went through it. As far as the season goes, it's hard. It's hard wearing a mask. I always felt for the umpires, like especially behind the home plate, wearing that mask. And, it's hard, but, it's something we all need to do to take care of, this situation that we're all in.
And the Tigers had been showing some progress, much improved. See, I know the year before was rough, but much improved last year. You're a lifer. You've been in this game a long time. That ought to be tough. Season not yet completed, and you had to take a little blow, Ron. You're a prideful guy. That had to be pretty hard for you to do that last September. How about that for a sec?
Yeah, it really was. That was, you feel bad. You don't ever feel like you're running out on the guys. They played so hard, and we had injuries that really hurt us during last year. But I thought we were doing pretty good, getting some young kids up. But you know what? It just got to be that point where I needed to take care of myself. And I talked to a lot of people, but I guess my biggest fear was that the players thought that I was just running out on them. And I think about that all the time. But I know I've had a lot of players contacting me, checking on me, and all those things. So you know what? I did what was right for me and my family.
If you can't play for Ron Gardenhire, you can't play for anybody. So I think the players understood exactly where you were coming from. How about a quick thought on this Tiger team? Then we'll get to the umpire situation here in a minute. This Tiger team, I know they got some young pitching. I mean, obviously they got Hinch there, who knows something about building a championship team. The organization seems to be in better shape. They're going to have money to spend when, in fact, they are ready to win. But I think the future is certainly a lot better than it was a couple years ago. Ron, give me your thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. We had, some young kids got valuable experience. We had some, kids come up and really do well. Castro did great out there at shortstop and hit the ball like we'd hope he would, Willie Castro. So we had some nice things happen. We had some injuries, like I said, that kind of knocked us around a little bit. Shupi really helped us out. Troney, until he got hurt, really helped us out, kind of showing these kids how to play a little bit also. My coach has worked their tails off every day. So a lot of good things happened last year, and hopefully it's setting a path to where they get back to where they want to be.
How is it managing a great Hall of Famer like Cabrera?
He's pretty easy. You just tell him, you want to play today, and he goes out there and shakes his head and whacks it around. This guy likes to have fun. Half the time I had no clue what he was screaming at in the dugout. He'd be yelling and hooting and hollering and just having fun, which you're supposed to have fun in the game. We know he's slowed down a little bit with his knees and everything, but he wants to play, and he can still hit. And you know what? He's one of those guys that took some of those kids, when he saw something he didn't like and would say something. And as a manager, you really respect that kind of thing. So we had a really good relationship.
Wow. I like to hear that. Has Hinch or you reach out to AJ or vice versa, get a little sense on what to expect with the young players in the team? I'm sure you and he have a relationship. Any conversations with AJ since he got the job?
No, not yet. We've just been kind of waiting, and I figure spring training, I'll get on my Harley and drive up there and maybe have a conversation with him, see how he's doing. Just kind of letting him do his thing. That guy, he's a baseball guy. He's a real good baseball man, and he's done his thing. And class act, I've seen a lot of his interviews talking about all the situations they had in Houston. He's handled it very, very well, which is really hard to do. But you know what? Total respect for the guy. We'll see how he, goes there. If he wants to reach out, I'm always here. But I'll get up there because I want to see some of the people that have been around for the last 3 years.
Did you like the rules last year, Ron? We didn't get a chance to ask you about that. 10th inning, 7-inning doubleheaders, 3-batter minimum. What was your take on some of the scenarios that you dealt with last year in the short season?
All of them but the 3-batter minimum. I thought that was kind of tying the manager's hands. I know what's pace of the game and all those things and making pitching changes, but that's strategy. That's part of the game. That's how you win and lose games. And I didn't like that part of it, but the rest of it, the 7-inning doubleheaders, the putting the man on second base, in extra innings. Let me tell you what, that saves your ball club for the next day and protects your pitching. And some of those things were pretty good that happened and made the game go along. The pace was better late in the game. So a lot of good things happened last year. I enjoyed that part.
Now, the umpire scenario. You mentioned, obviously, they had a very difficult job last year. A lot of them traveled on the team charters to get to the next spot. I mean, it was they did lots of games in one city. That was a little different, but, nobody gives them any love. And you're doing it with Torrey this weekend. Give me a little rundown on the umpires in 2020. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? And I did talk to him, and I felt for him. Tough situations, like I said, especially behind the plate with the mask and everything and how they had to travel. And how their lives changed. We talk about our lives changing and everything and all the protocol that we went through going to places, but no one really talked about what they had to go through. And believe me, they had a hard time. And I talked with a lot of umpires. The best part about it for some of them when I talked to them was that they did get to stay around longer in a city. They didn't have to travel as much, which was safer and protected them and everybody else involved. So good people. Believe me, I've gotten thrown out of more ball games than anybody, but it's not a disrespect to them. It was always about protecting my players, and I've got good relationships with a lot of those umpires.
Doing a good job here, Ron. One last thing. La Russa comes back at 76. You're 63. You're a young man. You probably take a little blow here. I wouldn't be shocked to see you back in some sort of coaching managerial scenario. If Tony can do it, why can't you? I know you're not thinking about that right now, but you can't sit there and say that that's never going to happen again. Let me get your sense on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, it's probably never going to happen again. I've done my run, and I've enjoyed the heck out of it, and I want fond memories of the game, and I have them. And you know what? It's just time for me. I've got grandbabies now that I want to spend time with. My daughter up in Minnesota, she's in the health business, and I'm worried about her. So there's a lot of things that I need to do. I've got, buddies up in Minnesota that I told them one day we're going to fish and play golf as much as we want to. And so I think my wife's, I don't know if she's ready for me to be around the house very much, but I think she still loves me, and hopefully I can keep it that way, and we'll enjoy ourselves.
Excellent shot, Ron. That's a great spot. Great to hear you again. Keep up the good work. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for a few minutes here today.